Sylvester Stallone. The name alone evokes images of grit, resilience, and the unwavering determination to rise, no matter how hard life knocks you down. Rocky Balboa, John Rambo, characters that have become part of our cultural DNA, embody the fighting spirit and relentless perseverance that Stallone himself lived every day. For over 5 decades, he has been the symbol of courage, showing the world that setbacks are temporary, but determination can be eternal. Behind the fame, the billion-dollar franchises, and the global recognition lies a story of struggle, endurance, and an indomitable will that few can imagine. His journey to the top was never smooth. It was filled with obstacles, moments of doubt, and personal trials that tested him in ways far beyond the silver screen. While audiences cheered for his characters, Stallone faced battles in his own life that required the same courage he portrayed in films. A difficult beginning. Sylvester Stallone's fight began even before he could speak. Born on July 6, 1946, in a New York hospital, complications during birth caused permanent paralysis on the left side of his face. His lower lip drooped, and his speech was slurred, marking him as different from the very first breath. It was not an easy start, and his family life added further challenges. His parents, Frank Stallone Sr. and Jackie Stallone, had a tumultuous relationship, and young Sylvester often found himself caught in the crossfire. Neglect and misunderstandings shaped his early years, leaving him with a sense of isolation and the need to defend himself against the world. School offered no refuge, as peers ridiculed him for his speech and appearance, turning the classroom into a place of constant struggle. Teachers often misjudged him, labeling him difficult, though it was only his way of navigating an unforgiving environment. The making of resilience. By his teenage years, Sylvester had been expelled from multiple schools, not for lack of talent, but for responding to challenges with a fierce determination to stand his ground. At 16, his mother sent him to a private school in Switzerland, an experience that left him isolated, far from home, and grappling with self-doubt. He faced loneliness and depression, yet even in those darkest moments, there was a spark within him, a belief that he could rise above adversity. Returning to America with nothing but a dream, he aimed for a career in acting, despite a world that often told him he wasn't enough. New York in the late 1960s was a harsh city for dreamers. With $40 in his pocket and a duffel bag of hopes, Stallone faced rejection after rejection. Casting directors dismissed him based on his appearance and speech, and he found himself doing jobs far removed from the glamour of Hollywood, including cleaning lion cages at the Central Park Zoo, sleeping on benches, and struggling to make ends meet. He experienced moments so challenging that he even had to part with his beloved dog, a decision that would weigh on him for years. But Stallone's spirit refused to be broken. The birth of Rocky. It was in 1975 that Stallone's life took a decisive turn. Watching a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, he was inspired by the underdog who fought valiantly against all odds. Wepner's perseverance mirrored Stallone's own journey, and over the next 3 days, he poured every ounce of his life's struggle into a script about a nobody boxer given a single chance at greatness. The result was Rocky, a story born from pain, hope, and relentless ambition. With 90 pages of determination in hand, Stallone faced the next challenge: selling the script without losing the chance to portray the character himself. Hollywood offered him incredible sums of money to step aside, but he refused. Stallone knew that to give Rocky authenticity, he had to be the one living it. His insistence on playing the character became a defining act of courage that would forever shape his career. The breakthrough. Finally, after persistent negotiation, the studio agreed to let Stallone star, though on a shoestring budget and with intense time constraints. Rocky was filmed under challenging conditions in Philadelphia, with borrowed equipment and a cast and crew working tirelessly for little compensation. Every scene Stallone wrote, choreographed, and performed was infused with his own life experience. When the film premiered in 1976, it was a revelation. Audiences saw themselves in the underdog, and critics were won over by the authenticity of Stallone's performance. Rocky went on to gross $225 million worldwide, winning the Academy Award for Best Picture and earning Stallone nominations for Best Actor and Best Screenplay. The invisible boy who had been overlooked and underestimated was suddenly impossible to ignore. The Golden Era. The success of Rocky opened doors beyond Stallone's wildest dreams. Sequels followed, each larger than the last. Rocky II brought in $200 million, while Rocky III introduced audiences to Mr. T and the iconic Eye of the Tiger, grossing $270 million. Rocky IV, a Cold War allegory, became a global phenomenon, cementing Stallone's status as an action hero icon. But Rocky was not the only role defining him. In 1982, Stallone introduced John Rambo in First Blood, portraying a Vietnam War veteran facing trauma and societal rejection. The film was raw, poignant, and powerful, resonating deeply with audiences and spawning a franchise that became synonymous with resilience and determination. Rambo, First Blood Part II, and Rambo III continued the narrative, solidifying Stallone's place as a cultural force and a one-man industry. At his peak, Stallone commanded $12 to $15 million per film, owning luxury properties, vehicles, and a lifestyle few could imagine. Yet he remained deeply connected to the underdog spirit that had brought him this far. Facing adversity once more. Despite this tremendous success, the 1990s brought unforeseen challenges. The action hero era was shifting, and audiences sought new styles of storytelling and fresh faces. Stallone's earnest, muscular authenticity, once celebrated, became less in demand. Films such as Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot, Judge Dredd, and Assassins received critical and commercial failure. Even projects he poured his heart into, like Driven and Detox, failed to resonate. The man who had defied poverty, physical limitation, and early rejection now faced the harsh reality of irrelevance. Financial struggles compounded the professional setbacks, and the once celebrated star found himself navigating a world that seemed to have moved on without him. Stallone's journey during this period reflected the universal truth that resilience is not a straight line. It is tested again and again. Reinvention and redemption. Even as Hollywood seemed to dismiss him, Stallone quietly began preparing a comeback. Drawing on the lessons of his life, he returned to the character that had saved him, Rocky Balboa. Writing Rocky Balboa, he created a story about an aging fighter facing the realities of time, legacy, and mortality. The narrative mirrored Stallone's own experiences, making the film deeply personal and authentic. When Rocky Balboa premiered, it was not just a film, it was a testament to endurance, a reminder that life's battles continue well beyond youth and fame. Stallone's comeback demonstrated that reinvention is always possible when anchored in honesty, persistence, and the courage to embrace one's own story. Lessons in persistence. Stallone's life is a masterclass in resilience. From a challenging birth to relentless childhood adversity, from poverty to Hollywood rejection, he exemplifies the power of perseverance. He refused to compromise his vision, whether in keeping the role of Rocky or returning from professional setbacks with renewed focus. Stallone shows us that true strength is not measured by fame or fortune, but by the ability to continue fighting when the world doubts you, when the odds are stacked against you, and when the path forward seems impossible. Every punch he threw on screen was informed by a lifetime of real struggle, every victory earned in front of an audience reflecting the victories he had carved for himself in life. Personal triumphs. Beyond his public persona, Stallone's journey also includes deeply personal triumphs. His dedication to his craft, his family, and his dreams demonstrates the balance between ambition and heart. Even in moments of profound loss, Stallone drew on his resilience to move forward, continually shaping his life and career with intention and courage. He has inspired millions worldwide not only as an actor, but as a living example of persistence, passion, and authenticity. The struggles he faced, financial hardship, industry rejection, personal loss, were not just obstacles. They were the fires that forged the strength for which he is celebrated today. Legacy of an underdog. Sylvester Stallone's legacy is not just in the millions of fans, awards, and box office numbers. It is in the message his life communicates: that adversity does not define you, that rejection can fuel growth, and that perseverance is the truest measure of character. Through every film, every public appearance, and every personal challenge, Stallone has remained steadfast, showing that even the most insurmountable obstacles can be overcome with heart and determination. Rocky Balboa and John Rambo endure as symbols because they are reflections of the man who created them, a man who never quit, no matter how impossible the fight seemed. A life of inspiration. Sylvester Stallone's story continues to inspire new generations. Whether on screen or in life, he reminds us that greatness is forged not in comfort, but in struggle. His journey, from the difficulties of childhood, the challenges of early adulthood, the heartbreak of near-total failure, to the pinnacle of global recognition, teaches a timeless lesson. Resilience is cultivated through experience, refined through perseverance, and celebrated through the courage to never give up. Stallone's life embodies the truth that the most meaningful victories are not measured by applause or wealth, but by the strength to rise again and again, regardless of the odds. The enduring spirit. Today, Sylvester Stallone stands not only as a legendary actor, but as a symbol of human resilience. His story reminds us that the real fight is not measured in the box office or awards, but in the daily courage to confront adversity, to continue pursuing one's dreams, and to remain authentic in a world that often rewards compromise. Stallone's journey, marked by struggle, determination, and ultimate triumph, resonates because it mirrors life itself. We all face challenges, doubts, and setbacks, but through persistence, vision, and heart, it is possible to rise, to endure, and to leave a legacy that inspires others. Sylvester Stallone's life proves that even when the world doubts you, your spirit, if cultivated with courage, will always find a way to shine.